Howdy folks, I have a big thought in my mind. I'm going to try and keep it under 10 minutes because I've tried to record this a couple of times and I've gone way over. So, I have a big thought about friendship, communication, and work. And we're going to try to get it all out right now. Tell you quick about my growing up. I was weird. I had some friends, people that knew of me because I was weird, but then in high school I started to gain, I suppose, more real friends that I would hang out with, and but I wasn't really stuck in one group. I would hop around to each group if something was interesting was going on in this group. So I had a lot of friends. And you know, in high school I didn't just have the friends that knew me because I was weird. I had friends, and I would just mingle with everyone. I was in a group or a clique or whatever. So I have a big group of friends. Then you have your long-time friends, which may be from like when you were born, that kind of thing. They've known you for a while, but you might not just be best friends. Then you have your close friends, which might not be as long-time friends as old of a friend as a long-time friend, but you know them pretty well because you've had a lot of experience in recent years. And then you have your BFFs, only a few of them around, that kind of thing. I have a few best friends. My best friend was from primary school, and you know, interesting thing about best friends is you don't keep in contact that often. Which is, you know, it's sad, but, you know, when you do you know, your best friends, so you're never going to lose contact. You know, you may not speak for a few years, something like that, but then I recently came back in contact with my best friend. It's been great. Hi, Michael, if you're watching. And, yeah, so I just wanted to give you that groups and just give you an oversight of what I'm going to be talking about here. Now, girls have a really complex system of friendship compared to boys. I mean, boys have pretty complex friendship things too. But from what I've seen and experienced and been told, girls, you know, they will be friends one minute and not the other. You know, you go out drinking one night or something, and something strange happens. You know, you kiss my boyfriend, this happened, and you know, a really long relationship crushed to nothing. Now you know, the whole different story about cheating, relationship, marriage, divorce, all that crap. But I'm just saying, like, that's just a really cheap, quick example, you know, how girls can change their relationships with each other really quickly. Now, boys, I don't have too much. I have more experience with being friends with girls than being friends with boys because I don't like to go out and have a beer. I don't like to watch sports much at all. And that kind of stuff. So I don't have, I mean, I've been out to the club with the boys and whatever, but I don't have too much experience with strange boy relationships. You know, I keep in contact with my male friends, and we hang out every now and then, that kind of thing. And then, yeah, so that's kind of a little oversight. I'd like to give you a little example here about how girl relationships can be a little bit strange, but just a relationship in general. So we have Rachel and we have Paige, and these are not real names. But anyway, Paige is a really old long-time friend of Rachel's, and Paige often gets upset that Rachel isn't keeping in contact with her. And really, you know, if Paige is getting upset about this, Paige should keep in contact more, correct? But really, the lines of communication should be shared and synced really easily, because of what I'm going to come up with in the next topic is communication and the various methods that can be used to communicate with people these days. And then, so, you know, Paige is always kind of upset that they haven't spoken in a long time, and Rachel's kind of confused to why she'd be upset when she can just contact Rachel anytime she wants. So Paige decides to have a wedding and doesn't end up inviting Rachel, and Rachel's a little bit confused because they've been long-time friends, and this is a different kind of thing than not being in contact very often. But Paige decides to invite a bunch of people on Facebook, la-di-da Facebook, and Rachel sees this but decides not to say anything to Paige because, you know, she doesn't want it to be awkward. And I love awkward situations, but I find it's much more awkward if you don't communicate with people. It's, you know, it's much easier to say, hey, hey, you're gay, rather than just wondering it. And you get it out in the open. When things are in the open, they're kind of less awkward. Even though they could be awkward, they're still kind of less awkward than not communicating. Communication is big these days, kids. Not communicating can get in a lot of issues and just is terrible. So, you invite, but the thing is, you can't invite like everyone to your wedding, obviously. But you would think that someone that's a long-time friend, which is kind of on the outside of your close friends, remember, and then your best friends in here. I really should have like diagrams on the screen. You think some long-time friends would get in with the best friends and the close friends? But I mean, I believe Rachel and Paige are probably closer to best friends or close friends than long-time friends, or they kind of are in all the groups. So anyway, it just gets me really aggravated when people don't communicate correctly. I do this enough as much as the next person. But I've tried lately to be communicating more than not, because not is failure, and I don't want to fail at being friends with people, because that would just be lame. So anyway, the whole Paige-Rachel relationship is just confusing and strange, and I'm going to find some solutions for a couple of their woes. Communicating, that's the solution. We're done here. Let me check the time. Okay, I have a few minutes. Methods of communication these days are very vast and wonderful because it's the 21st century and the internet. Now you can use telephones, you can use text messaging, all that kind of fancy-jancy stuff. But one of the easiest and free and cheapest is social networks and email. Now email, I've realized a lot of people don't use email these days, especially people my age. They decide to use Facebook and stuff like that, which is owned by other people, whereas you kind of own your own email, but sometimes, anyway. Email is great, and one thing that can keep you in communication a lot easier is to reply to an email straight away. If you see an email, don't just let it sit and fall down below and then never get seen again. You should reply to it straight away. Now, if all these newsletters and crap that you get signed up to are in your email inbox, then click the unsubscribe button if you don't tend to check that newsletter very often. If you do, then cool. But unsubscribe to stuff you don't use so that your friend's stuff can still be seen. And then, if you're not using Gmail's priority inbox, you're really, really, really missing out. Because priority inbox, basically, you can say, this email is important, this isn't. So you can say, all the newsletters, not important. Put them below, stuff from my best friend. Because I want to see stuff from my best friend. I want to reply to that straight away and get it done. And then they'll reply straight away. And the lines of communication will just keep going, and it'll be awesome. Then there's also Skype, which is another free thing. And, of course, as I mentioned, the social networks. There are so many ways to communicate. It's a lame excuse not to. Now, I think I've missed quite a few things in this topic. Let me sorry to just double check, but I don't have a producer or anything, so I just have to make sure the recording's still going. Now, one last thing that's tough with friends, and if you have any question about friendships, relationships, or anything, please put them in the comments or email me or do any kind of form of contact and communication that I can be accessed online. But email and comments is probably I'll see first. When you work with friends, it can be interesting and different and that kind of thing. But then, doing work like me and Rachel do and stuff, freelancing stuff is kind of a little bit iffy with friends and family. Family, you're like, hey, I'll do a photo shoot for you for free, because you're my family, you're close, we love you, giddy up. But if you're doing it for a friend, you're kind of like, okay, yeah, but I really would get paid a lot for this kind of thing. So, you're kind of like, yeah, of course I'm going to do it because I'm your friend. But, so for example, a photo shoot, I'm a photographer, and I did a wedding, my only wedding where I was the sole photographer, and it was one of my best friends in Sydney, and she asked me, and I think she even offered to pay, and I was like, few $100, you know, that's way less than you pay for some normal professional photographer. But you know, we're friends, so you know, big discount, that kind of thing. If you're, you know, if you're hiring someone to do a photo shoot for you, especially a friend, and you're expecting them to do it for free, you really shouldn't. And if you're the photographer, you really should get used to charging your friends and, you know, maybe even family, depending on the kind of work, for this stuff. Because if you don't, you're just going to get known as the person that does stuff for free, and then, you know, you need to make a living, kind of thing. So that's my communication friendship kind of talk, and I want people to communicate better. In the past few years, me doing it myself, it's really paid off, literally. And don't complicate friendships so much, especially girls. You know, just say what's and being honest and saying what's on your mind. That goes with communication a lot. Really good. Like, I don't want to extend this too much longer. But you know, I'm very honest with Rachel all the time, and like you know, lots of people, mostly friends that I know. But you know, I don't care about what people look like. So saying like, "Is my hair look fine?" It always looks fine to me. Does my hair look fine? But you know, don't feel embarrassed to communicate. Don't feel awkward to communicate. Paige and Rachel, they need to just communicate more. And then, you know, maybe Paige's wedding, she can add a few more people, that kind of thing. So if you have any questions, as I said, please leave me any comments and stuff. Maybe I can make a part 2 of this video, answering some of your questions about friendships, relationships, and especially girls. I'd like to know your point of view, because I know there are a few girls out there that probably have some really crazy relationships that you may want to know my thoughts about. So that's me. Just communicate, pretty please, and I will peace you out like a brownie scout. Thank you very much for watching. I love you all, and